Welcome back, everyone. Today, I'm joined by, we've got two Ollies in the room today.
Great names.
Ollie Olds. Thank you very much for coming on.
Mate, thank you. Thank you for having me. And mate, a great name. It's a powerful name,
It
Ollie.
is a great name.
You Oliver or Ollie?
Originally Oliver.
Yeah, same.
But you know how it goes. Everyone just shortens everything down
Yeah,
to the Ollie.
yeah,
Because
mate.
you spell yours a bit differently, don't you? It's like two L's, one I.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
What do you, double L-Y?
No, I'm just OLI.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh,
Even
wow.
shorter.
So you're super lazy.
Yeah.
Just went.
But that's good. It's a great name. It's a great name. Now, what you do at the moment is you're a coach.
Yes.
Performance coach, mindset coach. But originally you started off, was it with rugby?
Yeah.
And how did you just get into rugby? Was it like something you've always wanted to do? Like when you were a kid, like this is the career I want?
Yeah, definitely. So growing up, it was always rugby, like from the age of 7. I think it was football originally when I was like 6 and under, like when you could just about do some sports. And I think my parents realized pretty quickly I'm too aggressive and too rough to play that. So they chucked me into rugby and I was like a duck to water, just absolutely loved it. Playing rugby union and then just went through the grades then when, you know, I think there was a bit of not a pressure on me, but I was pretty good pretty quickly and was quite recognizable like at that stage. And considering how short I am, I'm quite small. I think I tried to think always put my game on, trying to punch above my weight.
Yeah.
And then I did this tournament as a young age. It's called Roslyn Park Sevens. It's obviously in England somewhere Roslyn Park is.
Yeah.
And it was a really prestigious tournament. And I was like 13, mate, super young. And we did this tournament, finished it, and we won the comp. Like rare for a Welsh team to win this competition. And I got awarded Player of the Month for this magazine, this stage called Rugby World Magazine. I was the youngest ever player to get it. We got sponsored at 13 by Mizuno, and it was just a big buzz from then. So I think I always I fell into it, and I just, you know, this is kind of like, you know, people find their purpose or try and find their purpose. It was like I walked into it. It was like, this is what I love to do. This is what I wanted to do, and that's kind of where the rugby journey went. It went for so long, and then probably from the age of 15, 16, I started going to rugby league. It's more of a Northern England sport.
Yeah.
It's not really known in Wales or South England. And I was like, it was this weird transition stage where in Wales at that stage, everyone was all about size. Everyone had to be big. And I remember it was at this stage where everyone was kind of developing, you know, like that 15, 16 age, you know, people going through puberty or growing or shooting up. And I'm still waiting to hit puberty, mate. I'm still waiting to hit that sprout. But I remember going through all the grades, and I didn't make this like the county, let's say, I didn't get into the county team this one year. And I remember ringing the coach, like, mate, what did I do wrong? Is anything I can work on? And he was like, nah, mate. He was just, you know, you're just not big enough. And I was like, fuck. You can be as good as you want, but you was too small. So I really went bitter with rugby union, and then went down the rugby league path and kicked on ever since then, really.
Yeah, you don't really hear too much about league, because when I was looking up about your career, it's league, and I used to play rugby a long time ago.
Yeah.
And there's always union,
Yeah.
or you had sevens. But
sevens.
I'd never heard of league, because league's 13, is that right?
13, yeah.
So what's the difference? Is there like a difference when you get to like the breakdown? Because remember with sevens, it's a little bit different. You don't really like ruck and stuff like that.
So yeah, it's kind of all like in rugby union, it's more scrums, lineouts. In rugby league, I try to say it as it's more the fit man sport. It's like back to back, running back 10 meters. You've got 6 tackle sets. So every time you get tackled, you get up and you just basically got to roll the ball through your leg, and the defenders go back 10 meters, and you kind of got 6 tackles. And then if you don't score in that process, you got to kick. It's, you know, loads of players have transitions from league to union. Jason Robinson from England years ago, Sonny Bill Williams. There's probably loads more, many more, but just off the top of my head, them two came. But I'd just say it's a cleaner sport. If you want entertainment, I think it's more entertainment, like for viewers, fans.
Okay.
Yeah, NRL in Australia is like probably number 1 or 2 sport in Australia as well for.
Yeah. Do you find it the other way? So do many league players go over to union and kind of like jump between the two?
I know a couple of league players have come over to union. So like Sonny Bill Williams was one, Jason Robinson, and they killed it in union. Sam Burgess did.
Yeah.
Andy Farrell, who's the Irish coach now, his son's Owen Farrell. But they kind of came at the back end of their career. Not many union boys will go to league, probably down to money. I'd say union's more like down south of England, you know, you're probably more private school, and league I'd say is always more public.
Yeah.
So financially, I always found that unions will go to there, and it's more of a money generator than us others.
Yeah, because you turned pro in league, didn't you? And that's your career. You were a pro league player.
Yeah, I was kind of like, so I got scouted at 17 to go to Leeds Rhinos in Leeds, and that at the stage was like one of the most prestigious clubs. I was just like a youngster, just trained hard and was going through the processes. Like I just said, I left union at 15, 16 and went to full on league then, and I got scouted and signed a contract there. My first ever contract I've signed, and realized the standard then. It was like, this is a whole different ball game. Like these people, like at this stage, they were like the Manchester United back in the day. Not right now, but like, do you know what I mean? As in, like, everyone wanted to play for them. People would probably take pay cuts to play for Leeds at that stage. And there I was watching people like Kevin Sinfield, Rob Burrow, Danny Maguire's, probably knowing that you probably actually are like aware of in the league realm, but they are like the big names in the UK.
Yeah.
And I was just like, holy man, this is crazy. It was one of the best stages because I realized what it takes to be a pro and what it's a daily process. It's not like you can just check in and check out.
Yeah.
And that was probably, I learned so much about myself at a young age because moving away and stuff, and probably the hardest times as well.
Yeah. What was like the mindset of like going from amateur to pro? Like, was it like a massive jump, or was it just you kind of like hit what you're already doing and then you just sharpened up?
Yeah. So
tools?
Probably sharpened up the tools all, and because to be fair, like I wasn't an exceptional player. Like there's some people, man, that are just naturally gifted. They don't have to work too hard, but they just, when they get to game day, they rock up. You probably got people in your work industry that like, they seem like they're getting by, and you're like, hey, get this done, and they're just like, bang, they get it done.
Yeah.
I was not that. I had to do everything before a game to make sure I played well, where other people could get away with it. So for me, I always used to look up to Johnny Wilkinson. So growing up, I like always wanted to be like him, even though he was union. I would always train, always go on my own down the fields kicking. I would be eating better. You know, I wouldn't drink. I remember well, like the age from, you know, I think in the UK, even though they say the drinking age is what, 16? No, still 18. Sorry.
18, yeah.
I think you're 13 and you're okay in the UK, right?
13 in the field.
Yeah, in the park somewhere, you get a bottle of Lamborghini. But but I decided like I wanted to give this a full hog crack, and I just didn't drink or anything in that process. And it was just, I think it's just something about you need to, it just shifts a little bit.
Yeah. Because then from pro, you went to international. Yeah. So you played, was it the 2017 World Cup, was it?
No, so I played for Wales the first time against France when I was like just turned 18 or 17.
Yeah.
One of them, and I was at Leeds then. And then I missed the World Cup in, like, that would have been 2013, but like I think in 2017 I missed the World Cup. So I had a knee reconstruction, 17 ACL, and then got back fit, went to Australia, and when I was playing over there, I got picked to play in the World Cup. But I did my ACL again 5 months out from the World Cup, so I missed that one. But I played in the one last November last year, so that was 2022.
Yeah, and again, like pro to international stage, is it like another big jump, or again you're just like you've been sharpening your tools, being a pro, and it's not as big a jump as you thought it was going to be?
Well, to be fair with me, like I was like after I left Leeds, I was kind of on the like it's kind of semi-pro at that stage. It was professional. Everything was, you signed a contract and everything, but at the same time we had a job in Australia as well so I was working very much along with that. So when I played for Wales at the same time, playing against Tonga, playing against Papua New Guinea and Cook Islands, you've got people who are, you know, NRL superstars, and you kind of, there's definitely a level there, but it's kind of like, you know, when like a football team will play in the Carling Cup or something, or no, like a cup where you play against like a Premier League team. Yeah. You kind of grow an extra leg. You kind of go, we got to step up here. So you're playing against them. Yeah, it is a higher standard, but like, you know, like this opportunity is not going to come around often. And you just find, I don't know, it's like that Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson type of thing. You just somehow find an extra leg and perform higher when you play against higher standards. So
And you, again, like going back to like 3 ACL injuries.
Yeah.
Like, that's got to fuck with your mind.
Yeah, massively, man. Have you had any bad injuries? Or?
Yeah, so with rugby, I tore both my MCLs.
Oh.
So I had 6 or 8 weeks off for one knee.
Yeah.
First came back, tore the other one.
Yeah.
And it was just I was getting started into my career doing trees. And I was like, I got to make a choice. I was like, I can either keep getting like battered, like tearing things, or I just don't play rugby anymore and follow my career that I want. So that was like the point where I stopped rugby.
Yeah, so, and the thing with your job of line, like, you very much need your MCLs to do what you're doing. Like, you know, if you're climbing trees or if you're cutting, you're in position sometimes with vulnerability, and your knees are very pressure joints, right? So you need them massively, yeah. But yeah, so for me, I had my first ACL when I was 18 in the UK. 19, I got a contract to go to Australia, so I took that contract to go to Australia. Played out there, had a partner at the stage. I had a meniscus tear before that, so I had a clean out on the same knee, and then it would have been 23 or 22. I had my second knee reconstruction, all on the same knee, and that was probably the hardest one because I didn't have family around me, and I didn't have no support networks. I'm in Australia, I had a partner, but kind of that was it. I had some mates in the team, but that was extremely hard. I just bought a house, and because I was injured, I didn't have an income coming in. So it was like you work, or if you played, you were getting paid. But if you didn't work or you didn't play, you weren't getting paid. So I was just bought a house. You know, the stresses of life on top of that. We were living in a friend's house at the time. And I remember this one time, I was lying in bed and I was like, this feeling come over my chest. It was like this tight feeling over my chest. And I was like, what is this? What's going on? Like, and I remember I would distract it by, you know, watching like YouTube videos or something like that, just to numb whatever I was feeling. Or I would drink then. And I had the surgery. And I remember that stage, because I didn't know what I was going through. It was like depression and anxiety. I didn't know how to deal with it. And we just bought this house, and it was a new build. So as it was just about to get built, me and my partner at that time, we split up. And like that was I didn't know what was going on, and my only way of dealing with that knee reconstruction, which is like 9 months out, missing out on a World Cup, was like just partying, surrounding myself with the wrong people, and just numbing the pain.
Yeah.
And that was a hard stage because I was like, I didn't have any tools at 23 to deal with what I was going through all. And then after that, typical lad, like just, you know, sleep, partying, chasing girls. Once sleeping, but I was partying, chasing girls. And then I met another girl, like not long after, and it was a rebounder. And after that, I realized she was an amazing girl, but I was actually she was like my happiness at that stage because I was so lost. So like, you know that saying, you need to heal yourself or look after yourself before you move on. I definitely didn't do that after a long-term relationship going into another one. And I signed a deal with another team, prestigious team over there and in Australia. And like my focus then was on this, get back fit and go again. So then I started to run again. I started to play again. And I started playing in the first team of players like Brodie Croft, Christian Welsh, like these high-up players who were at the Melbourne Storm were coming back to our team. And I remember like it was all going good. And then it was as if the universe was like just pulled the wool between my legs and did my ACL for the third time. And it was 23, 9 months to get back, and I'd say, you know, 24 and a bit, I did my third ACL. And man, I was just like, I remember thinking, shit, I've done it here, and thinking, I'm going back in that hole again. And that was a tough time. That was a really tough time because I didn't know, I knew what was going to come, didn't really deal with what the baggage I had before that. And then this happening now and they did this surgery the third time, and they did a patella reconstruction. And a part of it, the third surgeon said to me, hey, look, you're not going to be able to play sports again. But you actually got to break the tibia and fibia bone. It's on like a 13-degree angle. So when the femur was coming down to the tib and fib, this bottom bone where it comes to the knee joint, it was on a 13-degree angle. So we said, what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to break it, drop it down, put like a metal strip here, and then do a patella reconstruction. So I was like, I don't know what was going on. But he said, we might be able to do that all in one surgery, or we might not, because you've already had 4 holes in your knee from the two other reconstructions, one going down, one going up. So I was like, I prayed to God that this gets all done in the first surgery so I can get back fit in 9 to 12 months. And I remember I had the surgery, and I would only find out when I woke up if they did the whole reconstruction.
Yeah.
If they didn't, all they were going to do was take out the old ligament, clean it out and get it ready and fill in the 2 holes. So when I woke up, he was like, yeah, we couldn't do the reconstruction. So at that stage, he goes, we're going to have to wait 6 months for them 2 holes that you've had previously. We filled them with the patella, and so like a filling. Wait 6 months for it to heal, and then we'll have the reconstruction. So all up, it was like 18 months before I was fully fit to be actively running again. And because of all of the trauma the knee went through, he said when you did your 3rd knee reconstruction, he said you're going to be in hospital for 5 days because of we've broken into your bone, we've broken it, put it down. And I remember it so well. Like, so at that stage, I broke up with that girl, and then people come in on the 1st and 2nd day after the surgery, and I remember I was just in my own hospital bed, and all of this head noise was in there. But when they left for like 3, 4, 5th day, I was all on my own, and it was just alone with my thoughts. And I was just like, first ever time I'd probably was like, it's not as if I had a plan, I want to kill myself, but it was more like, I cannot feel this way anymore, I need to end it somehow. And that for me was like the scariest moment ever. So when your thoughts are starting to tell you these things, that's when it's like, whoa, like this was a scary moment. I didn't have, like I said, support networks as I had, because I pushed them all away.
Yeah.
So then after that was like the journey of like my rock bottom to go, I need to get out of this, let go of this identity that I've created from rugby, and find out who I actually am.
Yeah.
So that was the gist of the 3 knee reconstructions.
Yeah, no, that's mentally draining to say the least.
Yeah.
I know the pain of a patella. Yeah. I've done mine when I used to powerlift, and it sucks.
Yeah.
And I didn't like tear it or like rupture it or anything. It was just inflamed, so I just couldn't squat properly, and like, you know, you couldn't walk around properly.
Yeah.
And it sucks. And it when you can't do something you love to do.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, again, like mentally draining. It takes it out of you. You're making progress, and bam,
yeah,
you're straight back to square one again.
It's more as well because, like, at that age, that's all I knew. That's all I knew was just I was reliant on my health and my fitness to keep me going, but I didn't develop any other tools, as in, you know, self-development, grow myself. I was never reading a book at that age or that stage of my life. I wasn't listening to, I think I was listening to, you know, I think podcasts were slowly coming in. So I was listening to Joe Rogan then and the Brendan Schaubs and that, but that was just MMA. Yeah. But I wasn't really looking into anything else more than that. But it was some really, really dark times. And the way I suppressed that was partying and was taking drugs at that stage. Yeah. And it was just like, if this is living, I don't want to do this. Like legit. And like you said about your patella, when your patella's gone and you can't do the things that make you feel good and you enjoy doing, it's like, what else is there for me right now?
Yeah, and we use it as a pillar of like, you know, dealing with your mental health is exercise. Yeah. So when that pillar is completely taken away from you and there isn't like much you can do about it, you've really got to rely on like other tools
100%.
to sit back on, because if you're solely relying on one thing and it gets taken away, you're kind of like dead in the water, as it were.
Yeah. And you're trying to speak to you know, I'd say I'm a pretty extrovert person. I talk, but like at that stage, you kind of go into vices of, I would reach out to some friends and talk, but like at that stage, they didn't have the tools to tell me what's up. Like I did get put onto a sports psychologist, but like, again, they didn't help. Like not as if I was going to them to like, you got to fix me, but it was more like, you got to connect with someone as well. You've got to feel like I'm being heard and you're being heard. I don't like this one way where I'm talking to a wall and you're nodding at me. So it's like, brother, go do that to someone else in charge and whatever, but not for me. I don't need that. So for me, and I really hid this a lot. I don't know why I've hid it. but I've hit it to an extent. But it was probably the thing that really got me out of that hole of negative thoughts, anxiety, and no purpose in life. Was so every weekend where I was living in that stage, at the end of my road, there was like this church, and every Sunday I would walk past it hungover to get some food, like a pie from the shop or something, and I'd hear the songs going, like the hymns going, and I never. Something inside me was like, just pop your head in there.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to, because I was never brought up a religious person or anything. And I remember this one time I was like full of anxiety, and I just started getting into triathlons. I started running again, and just give up on the rugby scenario, but just started doing this, and went in there one day, and I just sat in the back of the church, and the hymns were going, and it was good energy in there, and the pastor was talking, and he wasn't really saying too much about, like, well, at the time, God type of stuff, but he was just saying about life, and everything just hit me right in the chest all. And I was like, whatever that was, that's just, I can relate and resonate to everything that he said. And at the end of the service, like, everyone's at the back of the service, they're talking, having a coffee and a tea in this church in Australia, in Brisbane. And I went, mate, I seen him, I go, mate, I just want to let you know what you just said then, I really resonate with me. I'd say, thank you for that. And he's like, oh, hey, mate, like, thanks. What's your name? And we had a bit of a chat, and he's like, what do you do with yourself? And at that stage, I was connecting internet up in telecommunications in Australia, and I was getting into triathlons. And he's like, oh, cool. He goes, I cycle too. He goes, I'll tell you what, next Saturday, I'll see you for a coffee and a cycle together. And I was like, oh, sure, whatever. And I was so nervous. So like Saturday came, and I was nervous as heck, because like I didn't know this guy, even though he impacted me. And like, it was that fear of doing something out of my comfort zone. And I tell you, like, that guy, today we still speak. Every second week we'll talk, even though he's in Australia and I'm over here. That guy changed my life. And sometimes I don't think I'd be here without him.
Yeah.
It just, and what I learned from that was, though, you can have one person in your life knock the confidence out of you and knock the belief out of you and purpose in life. But at the same time, when you're down and out, all you need in life sometimes is one person to give you that belief, or give you that backing, or hey, I believe in the confidence you got, and listen to you and be there for you, and it'll transform your life. And at that stage, I wasn't religious, I wasn't believing in God. He was just there, and he just had a pure heart. And like over the years then, I got baptized and stuff, but you know, I've always tussled with God, even today, I tussle with God, you know, and I think everyone does at stages, but that guy, Russell, his name is Russell Harper, he changed my life, and he knows that. Yeah,
I think nothing really happens by chance. Everything is like, you know, given a little push to come across into your path as you go through life. And that's the beautiful thing about social media, is like, your message, my message, whatever the message may be, could help one person just by, you know, coming up in their For You page or whatever it is. And they could be like, do you know what, I really resonate with that. Like, I don't feel alone now. And it's great, like what we do, like with your coaching, like it can change so many people's lives from, you know, your phone. And you don't need to be in person anymore, as it were. Like there's such a great thing about like sitting down with someone and talking, but if you're too like anxious to get out, the phone is great.
Yeah, the phone is great. I am a people person. I love connection. I'm a hugger. I'm a tell you how good you're doing type of bloke. And I'm like your biggest fan behind your back. You know what I mean? I'm like that guy. If an opportunity comes up, I'm putting you in that direction. Like, and if you don't want to do it, then tough shit. I'm going to put you in that position. And it's that sink or swim mentality. But yeah, like that's where it stemmed from, the whole thing I'm doing now with the coaching and like, you know, developing and performing people into what they want to do, and realizing their potential is so much greater than what they think. Because we put ourselves in limiting box at times, and it's like the only person to create that box was maybe someone at one stage said to you, hey, you can't do something, or hey, you're never going to amount to something, and you've listened to that and believed to that at a young age. But like, at the same time, you're so much more than that, and you can do more than that. And the only person who's really holding you back right now is your thoughts and the fear of it. But he after that, I got into training and got back into doing loads of triathlons, and I started this community in Brisbane, I just thought it was these stairs in Brisbane called Kangaroo Point Stairs. So anyone out there will know them, and they're not the nicest of stairs to train on. But every Sunday, I was like 6 a.m. It was me and a couple other guys. We would just run them, and I would just take a selfie. I'd be like, "Hey, anyone, 6 a.m. See you there." And over the stage, people would rock up. So it was just like 2-3 of us at one stage. Then it got to 5 to 10, got to 20 to 30, it got to 50 people some Sundays, all for the common need of just being good people, don't know anyone, all walks of life, but just having that good energy around them. And we would like have a coffee, we would meditate, we would work out. And like at the end of it, it's like a little family.
Yeah.
And that's what I realized from the power of connection, the power of having one person believe in you and what it can do to impact your life. It's like, it's so infectious that like for instance, I can't even put it into words, but seeing how people's lives have transformed just purely from back then doing that to what I'm doing now, like what I do for work, I don't know, I can't even call it a job, mate. Like I can't, I don't want to sound like that guy. People would be listening to this and be like, what a dickhead. Like of course he works, like, but it's like, I can't put into words, like I actually love what I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And it's powerful to see people do well. And that's hard for some people to say.
Yeah. When I got into my career doing trees, is what I wanted to do from, let's see, I think from when I was, I knew I wanted to do it when I was in secondary school, and that's what I wanted to do. And I had a dream to own my own business and all of that. So I remember when I rocked up to my first employed job, and I was like, this is great. Like everyone, and then everyone's just like, you're going to hate this. I was like, I'm going to love it. Like for me, this isn't work. Like this is what I want to do. And you know, people got pissed. People got pissed at me for that attitude.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever seen the video where they put the fleas in the jar and they put the lid on, and then they take the lid off, and because they can't jump higher when the lid's on, they take the lid off and they stay at that height. They won't jump higher, even though they're free to do so.
100%.
And it's kind of like the people, I often find that like insecure people love putting other people in the boxes that they are in themselves to make themselves feel better. But if you're in that like scenario, and whether that be at work or family or the friends around you, it is tough to get out of that or recognize that you're in that without seeing like an external thing, whether that be something on YouTube or Instagram, whatever it may be. It is very hard to get out of. Like I've been in quite a few of those situations with sort of older friend groups, and you realize something's not right. Like I'm meant for more. And it is tough to get out of that in the beginning. But once you do that and you see like a whole new world, you're like, great, okay, like you're coming with me, like you're coming up here.
100%, and everything you said there is so true. It's the jar situation scenario is like the crab pot, you know, like a crab trying to get out of the bucket. Crabs, when they see a crab trying to get out, they grab it and pull it back down, or like tall poppy syndrome, they say. You know, when they try to chop the legs off someone, you know, and bring them back down to their world. It's kind of like, you know, if you ever go out on a night with the lads and you don't want to drink, and everyone's like, what do you mean you don't want to drink? Why don't you want to drink? Really, the reason why they're saying that is because it's a reflection of them, because it's like, because they don't want to, because you're not drinking, it makes them look bad. It's like, nah, man, I'm just doing me. And I think, you know, there's a graph, essentially. I can't remember what it's called, but basically the bottom of it, this graph is like, you know, like a states of our energy and what we like. And at the bottom might be fear, might be guilt, might be pain. And at the top of there used to be, you know, when you're more yourself, you're in a state of love, flow. Yeah. And then they found out at the top of that now is authenticity. So being your authentic self is actually being true to who you are. And when you're doing this transition of becoming that person, like it's hard sometimes you're going to lose people on the way. And I've lost loads of people on the way. And I thought, who are people there who were had my back and support me? Sometimes are not the people in, and they're lessons in life. And that's a hard lesson to do. But even what you're doing, or like becoming from a tree surgeon to doing podcasting, like the two opposite ends. You've got the blokey bloke, and what you're doing. So it's going to be a couple of sniffers, you know, sniggers there, and people saying things. But it's like, who really cares? Because when I'm on my deathbed one day and I'm sitting there, I ain't going to sit there going, you know what, I regret I didn't do that opportunity. I regret that I didn't do that, because Karen on a Monday in the office told me that idea's dumb. Like, who gives a fuck about her?
Yeah.
Karen or Jenny or Tom, whatever you want to call their names. Life's too short. Life is
very short. I saw something on my Instagram actually the other day on my business one, and one of the companies that we follow, one of their workers passed away. It wasn't anything. It wasn't like an accident or anything like that. I think it was just health issues or something. But it's definitely not very old. You know, like they're yesterday, gone today.
Yeah,
and you've got a lot that you can give, and what you actually give is probably a lot less than what you've got in you. And I couldn't do that. I couldn't like get to the end and be like, here's everything I could have done, but here's what I did do.
Yeah, it's so true, man. It's all this. I couldn't agree more. And it's like we have so much resistance in doing that, though. We have so much resistance in wanting to be who we actually want to be, and that's the hardest thing. Like, what is the fear behind that? Fear of being judged, fear of looking stupid, fear of it failing. Like, you actually don't fail. I've made mistakes so many times on this journey. I've, sounded stupid, sounded dumb, but I don't see them as a loss. They're just learnings. Like, but I had to do it to go on that journey. There's so many amazing people out there, right? Probably like musicians or talkers. They do all the music and they've probably got a stockpile of it, but they don't put it out because of the fear of what people think of it.
Yeah.
But it's like that. Doing that is and getting the response or no response is going to give you a confidence boost, and you're going to double the potential from doing it. But it's just man, and doing what you want to do. It could be stacking shelves. It could be just working in a shop, but it's what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to find out if you ask like a bunch of elderly people, like, what is something you wish you did more of in your life? I wonder what their answer would be.
I don't think it'll be work. Definitely it'll be work. Like spending too much time working. I think it'll be like family related. Like spending time with people they actually care about.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurship can be a very lonely road. And again, like as you say, you find out who your true friends are in those times. I used to have a fair few amount of friends from being just a dickhead, just being the clown. And I have from that group one friend left, and he's my best mate.
Cool.
And we've been through thick and thin.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jamie. But again, like you lose a lot of it. Like 99% of the people around you aren't around you for your benefit. They want something from you, something like that. But you don't see it at the time. You're like, I've got all these friends.
Yeah.
And literally, you can have like one best friend who's with you through the shit, and that means so much more than having 100 fake friends.
Yeah.
And again, like I've been down that road of like the lonely journey of entrepreneurship. And like even my best mate, he doesn't understand it because he's not in that world, but he's always been there for me.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find people like that nowadays.
Yeah.
And again, going back to authenticity, it's hard to find people being them true selves, especially on camera. Like it's always an act. Like putting on an act, they've got to be perfect. And for me, I love being human. Like, I made this mistake. I really didn't feel like doing this shit today. I did it anyway. And there's days where I don't feel like doing shit and I've not done it.
Yeah.
I've like done everything I was supposed to do apart from that one thing I said I was going to do.
Yeah.
But I didn't do it. And like, I'll openly put my hands up and be like, that's me. Like we all make those sort of pitfalls and shortcomings. But it's one thing to do that and then just make it a habit of keep doing that. That's not good. But like, identifying why that happens.
Oh yeah, 100%. There's so many times you've made like you haven't set up what you've done, and that's okay. But I think the key in all that is awareness, having awareness to that, and recognizing, okay, I didn't do it that time. Okay, do I let it slip again, or do I rectify that, or I try and change how many tasks I'm trying to do on a daily basis to get that?
Yeah.
Is it unreasonable what I'm doing? But what you said before that was quite interesting regarding that one best friend. Like I call them good time friends. You have friends in your life who are good time friends, but I think that one friend that you're talking about is the person who's there through the tough times too.
Yeah,
because that's a real friend, the tough times friend. Like you're through the tough times together, and that defines friendship. Like and defines like someone when you're in this journey, like you say, entrepreneurship and what you're doing, like there's times you feel alone, there's times you feel lost, and you feel like, is this what I'm meant to be doing? Should I go back to the stable 9 to 5 and is this okay? Or, you know, I remember when I started this journey, I quit. I was working in Australia doing internet at this stage. I quit my job. I had about 4 months rent in my pocket. I think I put down 3 months rent, and I stayed at home. I was just podcasting. I had the community base on a Sunday in Brisbane, and I was like, I love this so much. I need to figure out how to turn it into a business idea too, because if I could live off this is king. This is trump card. And I'm not asking for loads of money. I'm just asking enough to get by for now and make a meaning of it. So that's when I started like investing in myself. I started going into courses, seminars, having a mentor myself. And then I was like, okay, like at that stage, I was like creating my own journals. The journal at that stage, man, was just literally, I'd send a PDF to people like, hey, print that off. That's your journal. That's where it started. Like, and now it's hard copy journals. You know, you've got weekly videos coming in. You've got an online portal for yourself. You've got a community group. You've got webinars. But it had to start with that PDF paperwork then. So like, people think they need to have it all figured out before they do it. But it's like, by the time you have it all figured out, it's too late, all.
Yeah.
It's too late. You're like, you passed the boat. You missed the boat.
Yeah. I read this quote the other day, actually, and I probably won't get it perfectly right, but it was something along the lines of success, like constant success, lulls you into a false sense of security. And even starting this podcast, you know, I'd come from a pretty successful business, and I was like, you know what? I can do this. My podcast is going to be just like, you know, 1 million views, first one. And then I got humbled, and it was perfect. I was like, this is great. Yeah, I'm a beginner again. Everything's new. I'm learning everything new. Like, I'm loving this. Yeah. I'm so glad nothing went viral from the start, because I think it would have changed me in a negative way.
It's like asking, so what's your intention in having those 1 million views though? Yeah. What's the intention behind it? Is it
it's the idea of fame, of being someone. And that's like the idea of that. Yes, the idea stemmed from my depression and the suicide, which started like with an authentic thing, but then you kind of get like the lust for fame. And then it kind of like dilutes it, and it's not good. I'm so glad everything's happened the way it's happened so far, because it's kept me true to myself and who, like, what my goal is. Yeah. Because, man, I don't like, this podcast could help one person, but that one person is worth it.
That was my aim the first time I did my podcast, was I just wanted one person to listen to it. If they did, it was a success. Yeah. And so I think that was like, I didn't set myself, if I said 1 million views, there's probably a lot of people out there think I need to get 1,000 views or 100 views more, something like that, my first episode. Yeah. And if they don't, they probably quit. But it was a feeling though, right? Going back to the rugby so I had those years off. So I had 4 years without playing rugby. And then my brother said, I was just doing triathlons. So I'm 28 at this stage now, 28 or 29, and I'm like 4 years without playing the sport, like doing what I'm doing now, and, you know, transitioning out of that identity of rugby. And I was finally, like, I'd say it was like a nasty breakup, that journey was, but I was out the other end and I felt good. And my brother said to me, who's in Australia as well, he goes, you should come play rugby with us. We've got like 5 games left of the season, you know, still a good competition. You should come play. And I was like, nah, I'm good. and he goes, nah, come on. And I was like, oh, all right, okay. So I went and just played with him, and I was enjoying it. It was like, this is fun. And I just was like, it was like riding a bike. It was like naturally like playing well, but I felt my ego was getting revved up again. But I was aware of it this time, so I didn't let my ego. And I was a different person at 29 to 24. You know, it's two different people. And them games ended and I played reasonably well, and then the World Cup was in October, November, and that was July, August. And the team manager of Wales said, hey, we just seen that you're playing again. Looks like you're playing well. Would you like to play in the World Cup? Or would you like to be in the squad? And I went, no. He goes, what? I go, nah, I'm good. And I put the thing down, like it was Messenger. So I said, no, I'm good. And he said, okay, if you change your mind, let me know. So we had like 1 or 2 games left of the season, and we played, and we won, and I played, wow, like, oh, you've never played a World Cup, or this was your, your pinnacle moment. Just do it. So I committed to doing it, and I played in the World Cup. And, like sometimes getting what you think is going to get you like that high, that feeling, and you get there and it doesn't hit the way you think it hits. It was like an amazing feeling to play in the World Cup, to score a try and to play for my country and sing the national anthem. All of those things were amazing, but it didn't feel that feeling that I thought it was going to feel. You know what hit it more and filled that for me was doing the stairs, and was creating this community, and was really speaking my voice and being authentic to me, because that identity of rugby was gone then. I wanted that when I was 24, 25. I was 29, 30 now. But I had an offer to play rugby, a contract then for this year in Manchester, and I signed it. And I could still do what I'm doing at the same time, which is really good. But I just knew mentally I checked out. I was like, this is not who I am anymore. It's not fun. It's like going back to an ex when you shouldn't have. That's the only way I can say it. But I'm grateful for that opportunity, because it gave me more time to grow my business, to grow everything and create this platform. But it was nice to know that I did the World Cup.
Yeah.
And then I come back, and I'm hopefully, like, someone out there who's had terrible injuries know that there's still hope, that you can go back and do what you've dreamt of doing, of playing for your country and having that 4 years hiatus out of the sport. But essentially, like, it might not be the feeling that you're expecting to get.
Yeah, but again, like, it goes back. Like, if you, on your deathbed, that opportunity was there, and you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
I wish I had done that.
Yeah.
Because you never, like, you didn't know what was going to happen going into that. Like, you didn't know if it was going to be the thing you wanted or not.
I think I was fearful all because of the injuries that I had and the hole that I went in. I was scared of going in that hole again. And I had a really bad groin injury this year that basically wiped me out majority of the year. But my headspace was, like, good throughout all of that. Yeah, my headspace was good at all that. So I knew that I've grown as a person and developed, and the things that I'm preaching are working. You know what I mean? Because I'm that I remember I did a grade 3 tear of my groin, so one of the ligaments come off the bone, and I was like, oh no. But I got through it okay. I trained still, but not the same. But they're just learnings, in life, and
I love people that go through hell and use that experience to help other people, because you can go one of two ways. You can just keep going down like your self-destructive way, or you can be like, right, this can help someone else. And it's like going to like a rugby coach, and your coach never played rugby before. Like, are you really going to take him that seriously? It's the same like with coaching, like coaching people when you do like stuff with controlling your emotions and everything like that. Like, are you really going to go to someone who's like the perfect person who never feels any of that?
You 100%. Like, and I've had so many people go to me like, they want to get into that space, or they want to do it, but they're like, oh, they feel like they don't know enough. And I'm like, well, you don't teach them what you don't know. You, like, if you've experienced this, you've gone through this, and you've come out the other end, and you've learned, and you feel like you could share that to someone else. Like, it's actually rude not to share that journey to someone else, because they might be stuck in that hole. But if you have a message that could change the way they think or act and speak, and the way they look at themselves, then, like, you should definitely give that message to that person. Educate yourself on it, invest in yourself. And that's the biggest one that not many people are willing to do, is an investment in yourself. Like, investing in your knowledge, like an exchange in value is an exchange in money, as they say. But, like, you've got to invest in yourself in this game. And that was a hard concept, because sometimes, you'd invest on a night out. You'd invest on a flash car that's going to put you in debt, or you'd invest in a mortgage, which is 40 years, 30 years, whatever. But investing in your what you love, thought, I shouldn't need to invest in it because I love it. And I was like, no, you need to develop that. I was going to go somewhere with that then, though, regarding the people in that stage of their life. It's like, I suppose it's just, what do you want out of life too, though? Yeah.
I used to be like massively obsessed with chasing money. Like, one of the reasons I got into owning the business was money. It was one of the driving factors as well. Like, it was a dream to have that, but money was a big factor pushing that along. And you would have said to me like, oh, invest in this, this, and this, you get more money. I'm like, yeah, cool, no worries. But invest in yourself, oh, no. I'd rather spend the money investing into like a stock.
Yeah.
Now, I'd rather spend 10 grand investing in myself than putting it into like crypto, stock, whatever it is, because I know that I have control over what happens with that. And it's great, like reading books every day, going out running, like doing physical exercise, like it's all investing in yourself.
Yeah.
And then you can just take that and give it to someone else.
100%. So this is the catchment, I think, of this, and it's a double-ended sword though when we talk about like self-development, right? And I've got to be careful how I say this because I think it might upset certain people. And like we've got, we're in this craze of trauma. Trauma is the talk at the moment, and there's a lot of trauma out there. But like, and there's a lot of people that go, oh, I can't do, because I experienced this, and I have to be careful as this, because I've experienced this or that, or my parents treated me this way, now I'm stuck. And they've put this victim card out. And it's a fine line all for me, where it's like, put yourself in their shoes, and I want you to find out what their childhood was like. If your mum or dad was 60 onwards, like there's a high chance that they had a really shit childhood, that their parents are, in a different generation to what we are right now. And sometimes it's not like all about this, F them or this, that, and the other, I can't do this because of them. It's like, you know what? Work on yourself, but like learn to forgive.
Yeah.
Like learn to forgive. Maybe you're not going to get the answers that you want out of this trauma talk that's about at the moment. But maybe it's learning to forgive yourself, and maybe learning that, well, the version of myself has to forgive to go where I need to go. Or if you're going to be a father one day or a mother one day, like, let's stop that happening now so I don't pass it on to the next people. It's just, and again, I want to be careful how I say that, because there is some people who have had some really sick shit happen to them. But I mean, when it's this minor thing, like for instance, you didn't get the fucking McDonald's as a kid, so now you got trauma. It's like, come on, mate. Like, that's not, like, you didn't. And it's like, I'm more forward thinking though. I'm more like, we want to get there. Let's get there. What's stopping us get there? What's the blockage getting us there? Only thing that does looking in your past is fuck your neck up. So it's like that fine line between the two, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I, like I said, I'm just aware of that. I don't know what your thoughts are on it all, but
yeah, there's again, I actually mentioned this book in the previous episode we shot, and it's called Mindset by Dr. Carol S. Dweck, and she goes on about the growth mindset and the fixed mindset, and how the fixed mindset, this is what I've been dealt.
Yeah.
I can't change it. Oh, I'm dumb. I'm always going to be dumb.
Yeah.
Or like, I got abused, so this is me now.
Yeah.
And the growth mindset is, this is what I've been dealt, but I can improve it. And it's not like playing a victim card where you're like, right, this is me. This is my life. Like, this is where I am. Again, going back to like being in the box.
Yeah, yeah.
You can learn. Like, you may be dumb now, but you can learn. It's not like it's your IQ and like your knowledge is not set right there and then when you're born. You get your stats. You're like, right, this is you now. Like, you can learn. You like, how do you think you become like in a trade? You learn the trade. You don't just like instantly come out and be like, right, I am the perfect bricklayer. You go and learn, and you learn on the job. And a lot of people are stuck in the fixed mindset. And I think the way the schools are run, it's a lot of fixed mindset. Like, you're not good at this. Well, you're going to suck in life.
It's so true what you just said then. I want to remember how I'm going to say this now, but like, bet the first day you started being a tree surgeon, man, you weren't like bang, 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 you were killing it. I bet the first day you fucked the chain up, or you didn't, you made a mistake here and there, and the older boys give you shit. And like, you learn from that though. You can't just walk on the job and be like, I've got it all. There is people who are naturally gifted though, like sports, and they just click, they get it. But we talk about growth and fixed mindset. So I want to tell you this story. So when I was in Australia after the third knee reconstruction, I was super depressed, and I got into a demolition job, removing asbestos. It was a shit job, but I did it, and it paid well at the time. And we got offered to go to a place called Nauru. It's a refugee island, asylum seeking island, just to the right of Papua New Guinea. So you got Australia, Papua New Guinea, and this little island. You could drive in 30 minutes. And they said, look, there's a power plant over there. You can go on that island for a week or two and remove the sheets and, you know, go away and get paid a bit more money. I was like, there was 25, like playing the victim card hardcore at that stage. Said, okay, I'll go out. So we all went out there, and we could have the choice of having like local Nauru people come like labor on the job site with us. So we would be on the roof, we'd be passing the sheets down to them. They would rock up late, and they would probably only last an hour, and they go, screw this job. We're in a mask and suit all day in stinking hot tropical weather, and like you're losing loads of weight, like kilos and kilos every day. And they would leave. So what they did then, they started asking the asylum seekers. They said there'd be like these porta cabins in the middle of the island. So if there's ever like a tsunami or whatever coming, they'd all get to the middle of the island. And they said to us, yeah, we're going to ask them because we've got no one else to ask on the island. So there was this guy come over right from Bangladesh, and he came in, and his name was Saji. And this guy is another guy before I met the pastor that changed my life. And he come on site, and he was so bubbly, he was so happy. And I was like, what's he doing? He lives here. What is he so happy for? Anyway, he's like, boys, would anyone like any tea, coffee, water? Every morning he was on the dot. And I was like, wow, I like this guy. He's like, all right, you're buddying up with me. So every day then we were on this roof, and I was passing them down to him. Then on our breaks, we'd share food together. And he was just a good energy to be around. So anyway, we had this one day, it was like a tropical storm hit that day, so we couldn't work. And he had one set of clothes. So we took him to our apartment, which we weren't allowed to do, and I just gave him loads of clothes because he was literally wearing his clothes, drying them that night and wearing them the day after. So the day after then, I was walking on site, and I just see him there sitting on the side of the road with his eyes closed, cross-leg. I was like, what's he doing? Like, I didn't know what he was doing at the time. And anyway, didn't interrupt him. And we got onto the job site, and I said, oh, Saji, what were you doing then? And he's like, I'm meditating. I go, why'd you meditate? And he goes, oh, well, the reason why I meditate, I'll explain to you first. He goes, 4 years ago in Bangladesh, we had our village shot up by these people. They come through and just shot up the village. And he said, I see my mum and dad get shot in front of me. And he goes, my wife is in the village somewhere, and they pointed the gun to me, and they said, you either leave now or we're going to shoot you. So he just ran, got on a ship, and was going over to Australia, Melbourne. And the offshore police of Australia caught their boat, detoured, and took it to Nauru. So 4 years he's in that country from Bangladesh, and I'm like bawling my eyes out looking at this guy. And there I was playing the victim card in my situation. My knees, I can't play rugby anymore. And he said, so the reason why I meditate, Ollie, is because I can't change my past. I can't stress about my future. I can only be where I am right now, where my feet are. So he said, I better find some happiness and joy in every day of life. Otherwise, it's going to be a miserable life. And there I just like hugged him, cried. And then I started to meditate with him. And going back to this trauma situation, he still hasn't, this would have been over 5 years ago now, but he hadn't seen his wife is still alive, hopefully, in that village. And then there's like this other aspect I'm on about now with trauma and stuff. It's like, we've got to learn to somehow find peace in all of this mess. Because if you don't find peace in all the mess, it's going to screw you up. But that guy changed my life, my whole perception on what is hard doing and what's really hard.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Again, you needed it. It sounds like you needed it.
Oh, 100%, man. 100% of that stage. It was just, didn't want to be changed, but I didn't want to be changed, but I wanted you to hear my problems, Those people, they just vent, but they don't want to change. It's like, come to me when you're ready to change.
Yeah, yeah. The moaners. That's what I like to call them, the moaners.
Debbie Downers. And
yeah. I think to wrap up, because it's been an hour, it's been quick.
Jeez. Sorry, man.
You're all good. You're off to Tenerife next, so you're enjoying the sun. What is your dream now? Like, what's the dream?
My dream now, I'd love to just keep building this community I've got right now and keep impacting people's lives and impacting my own life, but doing it from a place of doing not to be like a pleaser or to do it for you, doing it because I just love doing it.
Yeah.
I'd love to think that I'd love to think at a stage, I'd love to do a TED talk maybe or something like that. But man, honestly, it's just whatever cool shit I like to do, I just want to go follow that. And everything else comes with that for me. Like just things seem to be happening when I'm following what's cool for me, what makes me excited. So that's probably what I would do. What about you?
To keep going the way I am. Not like stuck, like stagnate. Just keep going, like doing what I'm doing, showing up every single day, and building something. I have a dream of becoming a one of the top motivational speakers in the UK.
Nice.
And I see myself going all over the world, speaking to hundreds, if not thousands of people, and changing people's lives for better.
Amazing, man. I love that.
That is it.
Have you thought about, sorry to just cut you there, but have you thought about like just even in this tree surgeon industry, like I'd say like there's probably a lot of bloke men in that area that probably don't share as much as probably yourself. Have you ever thought about sharing to them as well?
I do it through my social media.
Cool.
So I post it through and,
Nice.
and quite a few of them follow us. So yeah.
Amazing, mate. Well, keep up the good work, mate. I love
Thank
what
you
you're
very
doing.
much. And thank you for coming on.
Thanks all.